Hey guys, slightly different kind of video for me today in terms of the theme. I want to talk a little bit about managing a digital marketing team. And you could potentially take out the word digital there and just talk about managing a team. And this is just based on my experience of doing it and also my experience of the types of bosses that I've had, either good or bad, and what I just feel resonates from my perspective and really is stuff to take on board when it comes to this. Because 9 times out of 10, we're all going to either be managing a team or in a team where we're managed by somebody, whether we're at an agency or a small business. That's just kind of the way it goes because digital marketing has so many moving parts to it. Now, the first part I want to talk about is if you are in an agency or in-house and you are managing people or a team and you're now an account manager or an account director, or you have someone that you're responsible for. What I find happens a lot is that people get into companies and then they end up feeling like they want to move up the ladder because that's what we're taught to do. And then as you move up, there's a kind of linear path where the move up is based on job titles, and people kind of just get moved into a higher rung on the ladder. And you might start as a junior or an executive, and then eventually you get to this account manager level. And everybody thinks, oh, well, now I'm an account manager, I'm more senior. And you are in terms of job title. But the thing is, there's a huge shift and transition that has to happen that I think a lot of agencies and companies in general aren't always great at communicating and helping people with. Because first of all, being an account manager or a director where you're responsible for others is a slightly different skill set than someone who is doing the do. I personally believe you need to be good at both. I think you have to be really, good at doing the really high-end stuff and the, broad conceptual strategies, and then going, really into the granular level and still having capacity to go into accounts and understand what's happening. But not everybody is wired with the soft skills to manage other people. And companies don't necessarily train that. If you are moving into an account management role, I think you have to really be self-aware and realize, is this something you want to do and enjoy? And if not, that's okay. But then you need to have the ability to move into a role that might be more technical if that's your bag. And again, there's no right or wrong answer. I just feel there's been this historical linear progression of you go up and up and up and then you hit account manager. And that just isn't for everyone. And for me, I'm using the word manager a lot because that's what's used in industry. But I think management as a concept is partly where the flaw is, because that really, for me at least, denotes a lot of hands-on delegation, and I don't think that's what it's about. I think if you're in that kind of role, there's some key soft skills. You have to be more of a leader than a manager. And I know it sounds like semantics, but I really don't feel that it is. I think your job, when you then have people that you have lining into you, is more to inspire them and to listen to them and to understand their challenges and to help with their growth. It's not really so much about sweeping up the work that you could do for them, because you could probably do a lot of their tasks quicker and faster because you've just done that in the last couple of years of the role that you were in. But you have to change the chip to be in a place where you can step back and allow those other people to take on their own path and their own journey and nurture them. And again, that's not for everybody, and that's okay. But if you're in a place where you feel like, oh, I want to be a manager or lead people, really please take the time to understand if that's just in your nature. And if it's not, focus on something that is more in your nature. Because really then this moves into a bigger conversation, which is my second point around, the environment that people work in is everything. And happiness is more important than how much money you make for a client. And I've said this to clients before and people who have wanted to hire me where, pardon the French, but I don't really give a fuck how much money I make for clients. That's not my main objective. When I've gone into an agency, for me, it's being about the team that I work with and them being happy so that 9 times out of 10, if they're in a good place and they feel like they're being valued and heard and they know what the vision is, not just for the agency, but for them as an individual, then they're going to be happy to come and do work. Sure, they'll have a bad day. We're human. It's going to happen. But that's going to get more out of them, and in turn, indirectly, the client wins. But when I've been in places where it's all about, we have to have the bottom line and the P&L, and we have to make sure that the resource allocation is correct. Like, I get the numbers, I get that need for that kind of talk, but ultimately that's not going to inspire anybody. And so, look, there needs to be more of a balance in play. And specifically for a small business, this I think is a key point. Because if you're scaling, you're growing, you're hiring a digital marketing team, if you yourself, you know you're not the kind of person that can lead, please try and find someone that can come in and do that for you and trust them with that. Because the happiness of those people is going to help you scale and grow. But if you're the type that just wants to dictate and delegate and tell people by micromanaging how to do every little thing, your growth is going to be limited. And the people aren't going to be happy. Eventually, they're going to bounce. That's just the nature of how things are. And I've seen that, and I'm sure, you've probably seen it or felt it too. So I really think that's key to keep in mind. If you know you're the kind of person who is that controlling and that's your nature, and people just say, well, that's just how he is, fine, that's just how you are, but that might not resonate with people who you're supposed to lead on a team. And in that case, then, don't have a team. Don't bother with it. Keep your business smaller and just do it yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But if you're going to collaborate with others, it needs to be a collaboration. And, ultimately in the long run, kindness is always going to go a lot further than short-term delegation and short-term profits. And people are going to remember you for that. And this is a long-term game, This is, especially in digital, it's a pretty small industry, even on a global level. People kind of know each other, people move around. It's better to have the kind of ethos where everybody's happy and doing the right thing than, oh, well, that guy was just a dick. Yeah, he got results, but actually, the way he did it, he was a bit of an asshole. Word spreads. So, I guess to bring it full circle, the main point really for me of making this video is just to talk a little bit about that, about people, and that is what, whether you're a digital marketing team or any kind of team, what it's about. And for the younger ones who are watching this, who might be wanting to scale up those ranks, like I say, just have that self-awareness. Understand if you are the type of person that just naturally has empathy and cares about others, because that will be the great kind of skill set that you need to be a manager. If you don't feel like that's for you, find something else within the agency and find the role. And if the people that are managing you right now aren't giving you that, then ask them, prompt them, challenge them, and also understand it's probably not their fault if they're not managing you in that way, because they might have just fallen into the role. Because as I said at the top, it's just being this hierarchical structure that seems to be there, and we blindly think we just have to do it to go up the ladder. So a little bit, I think, of self-awareness being deployed at all levels helps in these situations, so the right people are in the right positions and we're not just kind of cramming people into irrelevant roles just because it seems like that's the only way to progress. So anyway, a little bit of a rant, I suppose, but rant over. I still think there's useful stuff in there if you're especially a junior person at an agency, or you're trying to get into an agency, and even for some of the smaller businesses that are wanting to scale, just to keep that in the back of your mind. It might sound like a corny quote to leverage from Richard Branson, but he did say it, and it's true. People's happiness first, then profits. And 1980s Gordon Gekko, Wolf of Wall Street, and Wolf of Wall Street even, I suppose, wouldn't agree with that. But they all got short-term gain. And if you're in this for the long run, people first. Thanks for watching. As always, share, comment, like, subscribe. It means the world to me when you do. And I'll be back again soon with another video.